People like to focus on the past. People like to focus on the problem. And then we get into a place to where we start to do this holding pattern where we just like to circulate around the issues and never circulate around solving the said problems.
Welcome to Uncle Stu's neighborhood, where you will receive knowledge, understanding, wisdom, and humor. Now, let us welcome our uncle, Uncle Stu, the old man on the block.
I just wanted to say, one, shout out to you, Uncle Stu. This is a great topic, as always. A very neat, well needed conversation. And recently, I was talking about the same thing. I noticed since I've been doing YouTube, being new to YouTube, I realized that people like to focus on the past. People like to focus on the problem. And then we get into a place to where we start to do this holding pattern where we just like to circulate around the issues and never circulate around solving the said problems of these issues. The issues have been very well documented by people who are smarter than me, smarter than all of us on the panel. Folks have written books about the issue. They went all the way down to say it's biological and it's been transferred trauma. We know what it is. We know that we need therapy. We know we need counseling. We know all of those things now, and I think for me, what's frustrating is I'm a problem solver. It's what I spent the last 13 of my years professionally doing, solving problems. I wasn't allowed to make excuses. The outside being a man, you can't make excuses, right? But in a job where you are measured, your merit is measured by how well you can solve problems and actually create solutions for issues. They don't care what you can't get done. They don't want to hear about something being impossible. They want it done. And that's the environment that I worked in. And so when I came to YouTube and I'm looking, I knew what the problem was. It was the relationship with law enforcement, the Black community, the relationship with law enforcement, and the citizens of this country just in general. Okay, well, I sat down for several months and I put together solutions and trying to understand the problem. And I come here now to bring solutions. The thing that I notice that, our community really struggles with is executing, the execution of, and here's the thing, the lack of imagination. Because if you don't have the imagination to solve a problem, if you can't see past your own understanding, then you can't come up with a real solution, right? You got to be creative. You got to think outside the box. You got to utilize tools. You got to utilize the people. If you don't properly understand how we got in this situation, if you don't properly understand the tools that were used to get us here, then you can't reverse engineer the problem. Because a lot of the stuff happening now is people putting band-aids on things that require surgery. It requires creative surgery. And what I've noticed is that people like to give you the answer to a problem. And I always tell them this is a complex, complicated mathematical equation. And a lot of people want to talk about this situation and the issues regarding the Black community. And they want to just give you the answer to it, which we all know the answer. But no one is showing you the in between. The in between is the work that's required to get to said solution, right? And like any complicated math problem, if you can't show the work, then you don't have the answer. You got to show the work. And I tell people that all the time. Can you, I see this problem right here. I see the equation. Can you show me how you got to that answer? And oftentimes, more times than not, they say no, they cannot. When you challenge people on that, oh, Black people just need to do this. Black people need to do that. Okay, yeah, I hear that. How do you do it? Show me. What's the strategy? What are the tactics? Right? How do we apply it? Make it make this thing applicable to real life. Can you do that? And the answer is no. A lot of people come up here and they talk and they cannot show you what it looks like in real time, how to execute. The biggest issues that I've realized and recognized within our community are these three things. I call it the 3 C's of bondage that's impacting our community right now. You have people who are complacent, you have people who complain, and then you have people that compete. On this panel right now, you have competitors. We compete. We don't complain, and we're definitely not complacent. And this is the problem. We are so scatterbrained as a community. Everybody can't agree on the same thing. We can't agree on the same enemy. We can't agree on the same problems. We can't agree on the issues that are really holding us back. Everybody has their own interpretation as to why the situation is. Some people say it's the music. Some people say it's not the music. You know, we can't get on one accord as to what has caused us to get in this situation and then what's needed to get us out. And that is the state of confusion, as you put it in this title, you know, insanity. It is insane because it's confusion. You can't tell Nelson counseling about certain issues because he's like, hey, I'm competing. How come you can't compete? You know, I'm working hard. I did the research. I studied. I didn't complain. Then you have people who are complacent. You know, they're just drifting off into the wind and you can't get them on any type of page because they don't care. So again, these 3 C's of bondage is what we're suffering right now. You know, the competitors are going against the complainers. The complainers don't like the competitors. And then everybody can't get along with the complacent because at the end of the day, they're just out here. And there lies the biggest issue that I've seen. We can't get on one page. And therefore, if we can't get on one page, there's no need to fast forward to any chapter because it's too, we keep repeating the same problems every single year. And without sacrifice, as you know, is the biggest thing to change. If you're not willing to make sacrifice, if you're not willing to step outside of your own selfishness, then this will never work because this change requires you to be selfless. And there's not many people who are willing to be selfless. And that's the reason why it's such a talented, crafty, diabolical scheme that has been set forth on our community. And they know the only way to get out of it, the only way to save, because no one can save us but us. And the way they set this thing up is that they set it up in a way to where the only way for us to free ourselves is to love ourselves. And if the more that we're not loving ourselves, the more we keep ourselves hating ourselves, which in fact keep us here at the bottom. And the greatest way to show love is through selflessness and serving. And that is the problem. The key is love. And so that's how they keep us in this holding pattern of insanity, is because we are too selfish and we're not willing to sacrifice not only for your neighbor, but willing to sacrifice collectively for the collective. And that is the problem. Too many of us get successful and we go about our business and we're not willing to put in a percentage of love, support, and help to see the collective do better. And as your point, Uncle Stu, before I got on, you were just saying that, you know, the collective image, right? The collective image, cooperating, you know, the gender war, all these fictitious issues that mean really nothing at the end of the day. But at the same time, they are detrimental to the growth and success and the wealth building of Black people. And, you know, nonetheless, here we are.
Because I just got finished saying yesterday that there's a difference between having information and education. And a lot of us got a lot of information, but we don't have any education, meaning we could quote the data, the facts, the statistics, the history. But then if I ask you, how do you now apply what you just learned? They can't apply it. And then if you learn how to apply it, then you know it works because then you're going to have the revelation. Well, a lot of us never get beyond the information. We still debating the information. I'm going, okay, have you put it into practice? I don't get up here and say things that either I have not put into practice and I have not experienced. I'm not going to sit up here and read a book and then say, well, the book say this, and I have no kind of relationship with what the literature is actually saying. Any man. We quote the 60% is in the middle class. My question is, are you in the middle class? you see what I'm saying? And if you're not, get with the brothers in the middle class so you can be in the middle class.
You know, and I don't like to I don't like to do comparisons when we're talking about the Black community. I always like to focus on that.
Right.
I like to point this out though, because there's a big misconception about white people and white people's agenda and all this kind of stuff that goes on. The reality is I have mixed and mingled with a lot of different groups, ethnic groups.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to business and working on learning about financing and finances and things of that nature, I will tell you this. Everyone who has helped me and provided just free knowledge or wanted to support and uplift the work, didn't ask for anything, has come from a white person or someone other than Black. Anytime I have not yet. I will maybe count on two situations I can think of right now, off the top of my head, where I was working on something or needed some help with business or something to that effect, or just learning, trying to get ahead in a particular situation, and I needed to get the information from someone who had it, and they were African American, and I tell you, every single time, there was always a quid pro quo. I need money. You know, it was never. It's like, sir, I just asked you where you bought the shoes from. Hey man, Scott, I'm at the Target. You bought $20, bro, for you. You know. So, and I'm not saying that we're supposed to give away our services for free or at a discount.
Right.
But what I am saying is that, when we see people who are really putting in work, when we see people who are genuine in what they're doing and what they're talking about, I'm just saying we got to use our discretion better when it comes to helping each other out. We know there's a difference between someone who's trying to take advantage, someone who's trying to, get over on you and so forth and so on. And there's a difference between someone who is in the process of really making magic happen, and we end up stunning that person or preventing that person out of, I don't know, people call it the crab syndrome. I don't know what it is, but again, that's, that's why I always like to bring that up, that, everyone who's given me a leg up or a hand up or whatever you want to call it hasn't been Black. I can count on 2 occasions.
Right. I'm gonna give you this story real quick, and if you talking about that, it's gonna blow your mind. When I moved from New York to North Carolina, right now, remind you, the roots of my family's in South Carolina, so I know what the Confederate flag means. Like, you ain't gotta explain it to me. But how in the world I go to North Carolina and the closest white friends, the closest people that was giving me their last dollar, the closest one that was, hey, call me by my first name. Hey, man, I heard you need help.
Right.
And coming with the pickup truck, wore a Confederate flag shirt and a big old Confederate flag buckle. And when we sat down, in their head, the Confederate flag just meant Southern pride. But these was the people I was taught as a child. Nah, you don't go to that side of that neighborhood. How do you react to that? And then you're right. The Black people that you working in the same business with, they the supervisors. They hurting you and trying to destroy your life more than the ones that they say is supposed to be the enemy.
Yes.
Make it make sense. I understand. I understand.
And I say that just to point out the fact that, regardless, we should be prioritizing the growth and the benefit and the empowerment of each other. When we see opportunities to uplift one another, we shouldn't have to go outside of each other for help and assistance, right? Now, granted, when you come and patron my business, I expect you to pay full price, right? If I hit up Nelson, I say, Nelson, I need you to diagnose a brother real quick. Talk to me, right? I'm gonna ask him for his price because I respect the work that he's doing.
Right.
Now I might now send you somebody. I might send you a couple people, and then you, out of your own discretion, say, you know what? Hey, Nathan, you sent me about 3 people. Let me, I know this is so and so, whatever. Next session, let him decide to do that, on his own.
Right.
And so part of respecting each other's work and craft is that we honor that and appreciate the hard work they put in by honoring their prices, you know what I mean? And by
Right.
supporting, by networking, you know, Uncle Stu, we talked about networking earlier,
Right.
and the power of that, you know. And so it's just, you know, there is a class issue within the Black community.
I've always
And,
said that.
you
Yeah.
know, I plan on talking about it tomorrow on my stream in reference to, you know, the use of the N-word, you know what I mean?
Right.
And how we do have deplorables in our community that we look down upon, that we don't like, that we feel like are destroying the Black image and things like that. So we do have that. You know, the question is, how do we distinguish ourselves between, based on behavior, right? How do we distinguish ourselves based on class to where we are a respectable group? We are acknowledged and respected by all ethnic groups. You know, all ethnic groups has their deplorable class. We're not unique, right? White people got rednecks, right? So
Right.
that's their little group. And so where people believe the rednecks are uneducated, or they're not fancy, they're not up to par, they don't speak proper English, whatever. Every ethnic group has that group within their class. I mean, has that class within their group. And so I think that it's going to require our best and our brightest in the Black community to pull the collective power together and rebuild the image, redefine what it means to be African American in this country, redefine the culture, you know, and then remove ourselves out of the systems that we have become dependent on. We have become extremely dependent on white institutions, and people call it white supremacy. I don't believe in that. I truly believe that it's more so we are addicted to white supremacy more so than we are victims of white supremacy. And the reason why I say that is because all the change that needs to happen, that needs to take place, is gonna come from us. They are making money off of us being at the bottom. And the only way to change that is for us to start removing ourselves out of the convenience of their system, because it's very convenient and it feels
Right.
good. You know, that white supremacy tastes real good when you get up in the morning and brush your teeth, you know, with white supremacy toothpaste, right? White supremacy water. You know what I mean? You don't know
Right.
how
Right.
the water get to your fridge, you know, but you'll use it in a heartbeat. You know,
Right.
when you want to remove yourself from from a system, an institution, you're gonna have to replace it with something. And right now, Black people, we don't have any infrastructure. We don't have any essential. We don't have enough essential businesses consistently throughout our community to be able to abstain ourselves from white products, white system, white business. You can't tell me you can go to a Black, all Black hospital where you get your needs met the way you want them met, right? And so again, that's part of the work. You know, we need our doctors to come together. We need our millionaires to come together and start building infrastructure, building essential businesses. And then we have to leave and walk away from Target, walk away from Walmart, walk away from Publix, right? And Downey and Colgate. You have to let those things go. Are you willing to let those things go to rebuild your own economy within the economy of America so that we can be competitive? And the problem is a lot of people don't want to let Colgate go. A lot of people don't want to stop going to Walmart. A lot of people don't want to support a Nelson's Counseling or Uncle Stu or Real Nathan Daley, right? They're not in droves. We should be supporting each other. And the people you're supporting should have the best interest of the collective. We should be supporting those. Unfortunately, we start supporting those who tickle our ears, you know, and we give our money to those people who pretend to be Black and are really white, you know, and next to you know, they're not doing anything, right? They promise they're going to do all these things, they don't do them, and then they go on with the money. And you know, we look at that preacher. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Let me ask you, are you able to see what's on the screen right now?
Can I see it? Let me see. No, I just see y'all. Oh, I
Okay.
see the comment from Freeman's Journal.
Yeah.
He said, or are the winners obligated to forever be the engine for the indigenous caboose class. Here's how it works. He makes a good point.
Right, because that's why I pulled it up. Because for me, hey, I can only pull up those who want to be pulled up, and I gotta let go of everybody that don't want to be pulled up. In other words, I don't feel like my life should be obligated to those who, or as they say, I can only save those that want to be saved. The ones that don't want to be saved, I gotta let you go because the weight is too much. Right. Now that's how I view it. But let me hear how you rock with that.
So two things. What he's saying is exactly what I stated when I first got in, is that he's a competitor. Freeman's Journal is a competitor.
Yeah.
Why should the competitor have to support the complainers who aren't doing anything? He's absolutely correct. That's the conundrum that our community's in. See, Freeman's like, I'm a competitor. I'm not complaining about white people this, white people that, or criminals this, criminals. That has nothing to do with the work. I sacrificed. I stayed up. I went to school. I saved my money. I practice delayed gratification, right? So I did all these things to get to where I'm at, but then you have some people who aren't doing those things. Why should I now have to sacrifice my hard work to help somebody? So I agree 100%.
Right.
My philosophy, though, in reference to now, I just came up here and I said that you have to be, if you want to be a change agent, you have to understand the tools that were used to create the problem. Black people are not in this position by desire. We're in it by design, right? And so because I know that we're in it by design, my love for fixing the problem is different, right? So this is generation of problems that have been passed down, and it was orchestrated this way for this particular outcome to keep us at the bottom. I know that. So this isn't just somebody who just decided to be a bum. This generation of bums being passed down, right? In a sense. I will say this. The way to fix the problem is you have to fix the environment. So, agreed. And you have to attack the children. You can't focus on the adults. Mm-hmm. And so this is a psychological problem that's impacting our community. It's all mental. This is the mind. The mind has been attacked. The mind has gotten complacent, and therefore, it's not that Black people aren't great, because we are great people, right? We are financially, we are producers. Well, also producers. We're consumers, but we have created, we've invented, and we have a mind that people are making so much money off of and taking advantage of our labor, our creativity, our skill set. This is a fact. They got us to believe that we are not valuable, that we're not valuable, right? They got us to believe that we're not great people, and that's a lie. But a lot of us believe that. So the battle is the mind. The battle is psychology all day, and we need to actually fix that. So what do we do? What do you attack? You fix the environment. We take our best and our brightest, and we change the environment that our communities are in. We have to then take over the education system. That's number one. You can't complain about the current situation. You can't complain about white supremacy and this, that, and the other, whatever, and you yourself can't even educate your own people properly.
Wow.
That is key. So if you can't control the education, what are you teaching the people to become better? If you can't even change and teach your own culture, because you have no access to real live stream education. We can't get our own books that we want in schools to be taught. We can't teach the curriculum that we want. We have no control over the school system. And so again, if you can't fix the education, if you can't control the businesses that come in and the essential businesses that enter in the community, the thing is, we have the money, we have the resources, we have the capabilities of doing everything. The problem is getting our best and our brightest to want to make the sacrifice to do it. Freeman Journal is absolutely correct. Again, this problem will never be fixed. without people willing to make sacrifice. And that is the key.